Okay, good morning. I might be making a lot of pauses because I have to blow my nose. I don't know if I'm fighting the cold or if I'm fighting my allergies, or both. It just depends on which one at one point. Yeah, I do have. Thank you for putting out your cell phones away, your tablets, computers, all that good stuff. Just some paper for some good old note-taking. Tablets.
So this kid used to watch Netflix in my math class all the time last year.
What happened?
This kid used to sit and watch Netflix all the time in my math class last year. His tablet.
Awesome.
I tried. He never let me.
Yay math. We're starting a new section. There's a lot of cool stuff in here that's kind of mixed around. We're going to start with inverse functions. Oh my goodness. Taking a look at the last problem here, I asked you to take y equals 4x plus 5 and solve it for x. Anybody have any issues with that? So let's see here. The first step you should have taken was to move that 5 over, right? So that would have been y minus 5 is equal to 4x. Divide everything by 4. Sorry. Therefore, x is equal to y minus 5 over 4. That's a horrible 4. But there's a solution to that, right? So all you're doing is solving for a specified variable.
That is literally the easiest thing you can do.
Questions on that?
How are they not something different?
If you separate it into two fractions, that is also okay. So anyways, just want to check that out real quick. Let's go ahead and get started with inverse functions. So inverse functions, excuse me. We have to decide whether a function is a one-to-one, and if it's inverse, we need to find it. So for starters, one-to-one. And I like telling this story because it works for a lot of people, okay? If you haven't before, you probably already heard the story about one-to-one functions. And since one-to-one functions are relations, think about, oh shoot, I'm probably going to get in trouble with some people here. This is the way the story was told to me. So I'm going to repeat it the same way, okay? So whatever your sexual identification is, please save that for some other class.
All right.
Because if you identify as a toaster, that's good. But this story was told to me when I was in school, and it's helped me out. So when we're talking about functions, they're talking about relationship between boy and girls, okay? Or actually males, females, whatever you want to say. So they're saying that there's only one rule in order to be a one-to-one function, okay? Is that the guys can only have one girl. In order for this relationship to be function, okay, it has to be every girl can only be with one guy. Okay, that was only the rule for a function. Okay, and I think if you haven't before, you probably heard of that. Now, I said later on, you'll see that relationship evolves when we're talking about a one-to-one function. That means that this is strictly what is monogamous. One guy with one girl with one guy. So that's what we're looking at. Okay, so it can only be a one-to-one relationship. One guy has one girl has one guy. Back then, when it was freshmen, the only rule we had was the guys can't cheat. Right? Remember that? Guys can't cheat. Girls can have whatever you wanted. That was a function, but not when it's a one-to-one function. Okay? So, to decide if it's a one-to-one function, we're going to have to find and be able to find its inverse. Okay? So, let's get started here. In a one-to-one function, each value of x corresponds to only one value of y, and vice versa. Each y value can only have one x value. Please do not get the two types of functions confused. This is a one-to-one function. Those are bomb. You have ready, sir? Thank you. I got a new one. I'm all proud of my new baby. So take a look at this data here. If you take a look at this blob of numbers, we can see that 1 is connected to 6, 2 is connected to 7, 3 is connected to 7. Wait a minute, that's not okay. This 7, even though it's in the girl side, or it's one of the Y's, it's got more than one guy. So it's not a one-to-one function. Okay? That's still a function regardless, but it's not a one-to-one function. So again, every x can have one y. Every y can only have one x. Does that make sense? One-to-one. One x for one y for one x. Okay? Before, let me kind of just give you a quick visual. Before, for example, this. It's a parabola, right? A parabola is a function. But is it that special type of function we call one-to-one? And the answer here is no. Okay? Now, if it was a function, we use a special type of test, right? You guys remember that test? The vertical line test? And I could like say, oh, you know, does that ever cross any point? Am I going to be able to move you? No. So, can I draw that line anywhere where it would cross 2 points at the same time? The answer here would be no. So we would say, yes, it's a function. Now, if it's going to be a one-to-one function, there's not just the vertical line test anymore. Now we would use the horizontal line test. And if you notice here, we cross at 2 specific points. We cross here, and we cross there. Therefore, this is not a one-to-one function. Okay? That makes sense? Is that anyone still have questions on what a one-to-one function is? All right, cool. Moving on. This is about notation. This slide here. If the inverse of a one-to-one function f is written this way, and you probably can't see that, but if we're talking about the inverse function of something, it's written as f to the negative 1. It's not really f to the negative 1, it's just f inverse. Okay? And we use that terminology a lot. It just means it's the inverse function. It's going to be a set of all ordered pairs of the form of yx, where x comma y belongs to f. Give me a second to take that down. So here's what they're saying. If you had a point on the function f, for example, x comma y, then on the inverse function, there should be a point that is equivalent to that, aka y comma x. That means you've swapped the two. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Just want to make sure everyone understands what this slide is saying. It's a lot of word soup, but that's all it's saying. Here's what it's saying at the end here. If your x's and your y's are simply swapping for your inverse function, then the domain of x is actually the range of f inverse. So, domain and range for f also flip for f inverse. So domain over here, range on this side. Range on that side is actually domain on this side. If there was a heart here still, it would have hurt. No, I saw my. Yesterday, like people asked me questions all day, and I just kind of stared for a few seconds before I could even process. It's like, hold on, what?
Why are you here? I know, we don't want to test me. Why are you here?
Because if I'm not, then
We get behind.
we get behind.
Who cares?
Who will teach you this amazing stuff? I care. I made a promise to you that you were going to learn math, that you were going to get through this curriculum.
Myers is on the same thing as us. Same thing.
Is she still here? All right, that's cool then. Because from what I heard, they were ahead of us.
They took the 10 test with us.
Awesome. That's good to know.
So
Thank you.
you should just go home right now and go to sleep.
No, because then now we're caught up.
Just stay home tomorrow.
Wait, did she tell you that you were behind?
That just tells you, no, that just tells you how amazing you guys are. We were able to catch up despite me being gone for 3 days.
Yeah, we all pretty much did it.
You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Everybody is amazing.
I hate
Oh,
it.
thanks.
Okay,
Special.
let's take a look at these data. Sorry, let's take a look at these data. Let's take a look at these data. Decide whether each function is a one-to-one, and if it is, then find its inverse. So, here's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking a look at all the x values. Do any of the x values repeat themselves? Do any of the y values repeat themselves? So that means we are good to go. We are a one-to-one function. Now the question is, find the inverse. Well, okay, here we go. It goes 5, 2, 6, 3, 8, 4, 7, 8. Done. That is, we've identified if it's one-to-one, and then we found the inverse function based off the data that we do have. It all really is. It all really is. I'm sorry. No, it all really is. The problem here, the problem is if you're missing some of the rules from before, then when you get to this point, you have to learn those rules and you have to learn the new thing, therefore making it that much tougher. Math don't like hard. Math don't like hard.
I wish you would wait. No, Chase got on my car and he was sitting on it. And I brake checked it and he fell off. I was like, get off my car.
Okay, you try this one. You try this one. Decide if this is one-to-one, and if it is, find the inverse function, please. I have cold, I got hot, I got warm, I got everything. I like this. But that, wait a minute, this is the music, do I make you comment? I don't have that yet. I know. Is that real? All the wood. But one I really like when I do have a cold is the hot tea stuff, the lemonade. What's it called? Like, you get it in an envelope and you make it hot tea. My wife thinks it's gross. I like it. Oh, the neti pot? They kind of scare me ever since they said that if your water's contaminated, you can die.
Oh yeah, you get virus.
You're not supposed to use tap water.
Yeah, you're supposed to use purified water.
Purified water.
Virus.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not using tap water.
I've gotten really paranoid. Because I always use my tap water.
Wait, what is it? What does it do?
Neti pots? You pour water in your nostril, and it fills up your sinus, and then starts to pour out the other end. So you're really washing out your whole sinus cavity. I don't know if it washes the whole thing, but I know it does make you feel better. What? No.
What do you do? Do you have to tilt it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Each x value corresponds to just one y. However, who's cheating?
3.
Lady number 3. So this is not a one-to-one function, so we can't find that. We cannot find its inverse function. Option C. A Norwegian psychologist has developed a rule for predicting running times based on the time to run 5 kilometers, or the 5K. An example for one runner is shown here. So they've got their distances and you've got their times. Each x value corresponds to only one y value, and every y value corresponds to only one x value. Therefore, the function is one-to-one. Okay. Here's our next objective. And I think I don't really need to say much about this, right? We know the vertical line test and how it works. And I just showed you how the horizontal line test works. So we'll just run a quick visual. We'll do a chorus response. Oh, we haven't done a chorus, have we? You guys remember the chorus call? No? You guys never did choral reading? Like everybody read together like, oh.
No.
You mean like optional?
In like elementary school.
That's always fun to hear though.
Wait, can you go back?
Yes.
Relation. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. Is a one-to-one function?
What?
Is graph a one-to-one function?
No.
Oh, let's try that one more time. Cora. Is a one-to-one function?
Maybe.
Tell me why you would think maybe.
I just want you to hear. These are the best times of my life.
I thought you were going to say if your line happens to touch the vertex, then I would say maybe. But of course, if I lowered that, then no. Is B a one-to-one function? Yes, it's a one-to-one function. I can do vertical line and I can do horizontal line, and we would be good to go. Oh, they drew some lines for us. All right, objective 3. Yeah.
My name is like kind of longer.
I like the color of the window. I like the shimmer.
That's not. Are those acrylics?
Yeah.
I like that color.
Oh, I love Skrillex.
Skrillex? Yeah.
No?
Acrylic.
It wasn't Skrillex?
Acrylic.
Oh, is he like his buddy?
No, like fake nails.
Focus on that.
No. I have a beautician for a wife. Come on. Yes. I wanted her to, remember when I was wearing my thumbnail? I wanted her to do the whole one, but we couldn't find the whole nail. Only tips? Yeah, I'm like, nah, you're not filling in the gaps. That'd be weird, like tip falls off, it's all fat on this end.
It's not how it works. Tips don't fall off.
They don't?
No, you have like a powder.
But if you're guitaring with it, you're,
The tip's not gonna fall
Yeah,
off.
it's never happened.
really?
It's like glued on.
Well, I told her I didn't want that. I don't want to like walk around with like tips. So I want the whole thing that covers.
Does she have like an issue with like my tips falling off?
She used to do permanent makeup too.
Permanent makeup.
Tattoo
Tattoo?
makeup.
She does have tattoo. Well, it's
How
not
about
like
tattoo?
It's not tattoo.
Yeah.
Does she wanna like make my eyebrows look nice?
You have nice eyebrows. You grew them yourself, right?
No, she bought it.
These are Libras on eyebrows. All right. Have you guys ever done this? Have you guys ever found the inverse of a function? Have you guys ever done this? Find the inverse of a function? You guys have done this? Everybody except for Stupid Thought? Okay. No, he says he's the only one that's done it. So, bell work. Who had problems with the bell work? Oh, no one. Well, what if I told you that it was that easy? Finding the inverse is that easy.
Probably not.
No, it really is. No, it really is that easy. Here's what you do. Let me give you the steps. There's 2 steps to finding the inverse of a function if it is one-to-one. Are you guys ready? No? How about now? How about now?
Next week.
I'm on break next week. I'm coming over. So, rule number 1. If this function is one-to-one, here's what you want to do. Take x and take y and swap their position. That's the first rule. Take x, take y, and swap their position. So, if you had x equals 3y plus 2, then I would write that as
Why?
y equals 3x plus 2. Okay? Well, actually, I shouldn't have that. That's weird. Because it's a y function, right? So if I have y equals 3x plus 2, what I'll start by doing is going x equals 3y plus 2. That's step number 1. Take x, take y, swap them. Okay? Step number 2, solve it for y again. That's it. Now think about that. That should make sense, right? Remember the first slide I showed you? Where it said f and f inverse? What happened if you had f of x, sorry, a function, you had x comma y, correct? That means that on the f inverse, x comma y became y comma x. So what you're doing is you're swapping x and y. So if you want to find that inverse function, you swap x and y, and then you solve it for y again. And that is your inverse function.
No way.
Yes, wait, that's it. What?
It's not easy till tomorrow, then it's going to get all hard and complicated.
Only if you keep saying that to yourself.
That is not
Okay? Choose your own attitude. This is going to be great. I'm so excited for the opportunity to learn inverse functions.
great and exciting.
I'm going to learn how to undo this. Oh, I skipped a step. Sorry.
Here we go.
Turn y, replace it for the notation f inverse.
Love it.
That's technically what you want to say. This is the inverse function of this one I just had. So if I have f, I also have f inverse. All right, you guys ready?
Wait.
Hold up. Wait. Wait. Why is Nate so good, like on other people's tracks? Have you guys heard Nate's like his own album?
Like Reagan Bangers?
Well, yeah, but that wasn't his track either. But like he made his own CD.
Rip Nate Dogg.
Sucked.
This is not good. This is not good.
Nate Dogg?
Yeah, he has his own CD, and it's not good. I'm sorry.
I'm going to hear it. What's the song that he's
The C.
Exactly. I don't even know this song. Like I heard it one time. Like no, junk. Go look for it. Maybe it's on a free site somewhere.
YouTube.
Let me get some freehits.com.
I Got Love.
Okay, can we go with the example now? Here we go! So decide whether each equation defines a one-to-one function. If so, find the equation that defines the inverse. I'm telling you that this is a one-to-one function because it's just a line, right? You guys see it? Just a line. So if it's just a line, there's no way it's going to turn on itself.
I get it because
So here's how I do that. I'm going to take this f of x. I'm going to write this as y equals 3x minus 4. My next step is to swap x and y. So x equals 3y minus 4. And then I'm going to solve it for y again. So x plus 4 is equal to 3y. Divide everything by 3. Therefore, y is equal to x plus 4 over 3. Final step, f inverse of x is equal to x. Oops, sorry, that's not a 4. There it is. That is the whole process.
Fantastic. Is that negative one?
They made a Netflix series on something like that. I just saw the thing at the top, and it had like a Stomp the Yard kind of picture, and it was about frats and stuff. Wait a minute, is that the dodgeball one? Oh, I thought you were doing the dodgeball one. No.
She looks pretty.
Oh my god. right here to like right here.
Right here.
It's definitely just right here.
How did you know?
Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's f of x equals x to the third plus 1. Kyle, this is a one-to-one function, so I want you to find the inverse, please. This is a one-to-one. We're going to find the inverse, please.
Did you say it's a 1-to-1?
Mhm.
I'm not sure if I caught that.
It is a one-to-one.
I'll check it right now.
Instead of y.
I'm checking. Checking to make sure it's.
Cool. It's just like a parabola, except the left side gets turned down.
Oh, that's.
And then the whole thing got shifted up when you...
Was it you?
Someone Snapchat me a picture. I want to see. It's pretty good. I got a So like, where do we go?
Turn that to one.
I'm gonna walk out. So I'm solving for x.
Turn it to white first.
I'm solving for x. I already did that.
Okay, and you swap out.
Yeah.
We'll just solve for one now.
Okay, we did that. Yeah.
Oh, man, let me see that.
I really just want to know what I'm solving for. You're wrong. No?
Well, that's y to the third, right?
Yeah.
This is good right here. But how do you get y against y to the third? What's the opposite of cubic something? Not square rooting. Yes.
I was like,
Good job. How do you get rid of something cubed? Fantastic. Take that, man. Yes. Yeah, F to the negative. Oh, good job. Rating me up, bro.
I was so inspired.
I just bought that frame.
The wham. It was wham, wasn't it?
I don't know.
And my car.
Minute.
No, that's
No? Wow.
What is up with you and all these weird shirts? They're all cross country shirts.
I see when they were going.
Oh, it's okay. Those you were the wrestling. There's two shoulders, and it says 10 reasons why to date a wrestler. It's like, yeah, and they know how to penetrate. They can go for 8 minutes. They can go for 10 periods. And I have a shirt like that, and my dad was like, really? My birthday. has a shirt like it. Yeah, my dad got it for her.
Did you accept it though? You accepted it.
Roast.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Step 1, switch that f of x for a y. Swap their positions. Move over the 1. So you got y cubed is equal to x minus 1. To undo a cube, you take the cube root, and there you go. Turn y back into f inverse.
Wait, hold on. Move that. I didn't do that.
That'd be it.
So we don't change the y to the f of whatever that is. It's wrong.
Well, it's not wrong.
Because I didn't do it.
It's just easier for the reader to see, oh, this is the opposite of something. What is it the opposite of? Oh, it's the, sorry, the inverse of this, not opposite. The
So
inverse.
for Pearson, yeah. Is it gonna? We have to put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna want to put it like this.
When are they gonna do the Easy Marriage?
April.
We don't.
12?
We get like I don't make
Okay.
Get it out.
Happy birthday. Okay. Function C. Decide if this is a one-to-one, and if it is, it's not. How do you know it's not? It's squared, right? We just did a bunch of these. What are they? They're parabolas. They're parabolas. So they're not going to pass the horizontal line test. So you're done. Actually, even though it's not a one-to-one, you can still find its inverse. Not right now. Okay, but I want to show you though, because we are doing this already, right? And I want you to see some purpose behind it right now.
Dang it.
Ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, so I gotta do shower head. Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah.
Why are you so slow? You may. Is it already up? Oh, it is. Ah, that's why it wasn't turning on. File. New document.
That's what I said.
Okay, graphs. All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to graph on here this function. Do you guys know this function?
Yeah.
F of x equals x?
Yeah, it's X.
Do you guys know that one? Do you guys know in your mind, can you visualize what that looks like?
Can you refresh it?
Okay, if you don't, here's what it looks like.
Oh, I knew it.
It's that first one we ever did, right? You remember that? Oh, what was it, 7th grade? Y equals x. For every x, there's a y, right? Now, I want to leave that there because I want to add a couple more functions. And I want to go to the one we just did. What? That's not for me? Okay, what was that cube function we did? It was y equals, it was parentheses, right? X minus, or x plus 1? Correct? To the third power?
Let's go back and check.
No?
I think it was minus cube.
X cubed plus 1, my bad. Thank you. So x to the third plus 1. So there's that function right there, right? Now, can someone tell me what the inverse of it was? Can you guys see that okay? I could make it bigger, couldn't I? No, I can't. What was the other one? It was the third root of? It is the catalog. Yeah, what our inverse was. So it's going to be this one here.
Are your wizards on? Turn on your wizards. What's the wizard?
I thought I inserted it.
Turn on your wizards.
Oh, turn on my wizard?
Don't listen to Jose. That means
It just tells me what it does. It's like the little helper there.
You think she just goes all the way through?
Oh, way to go. Oh,
Thanks, man.
The wizards cannot see those worthy.
Hey, let's check the camera.
Or the
No, it's supposed to be in here.
it's not where the carrot is. Like this.
Oh, sure it is. Thank you. Good looking now. You got good eyes, bro. The third root of x minus 1. So I want to show you these because it's important to know what's going on when we're looking at a function and its inverse function, okay? So I put in the red, which was the original function. Here comes the other one. And I want you to take a look at those and see if you find some similarity between them.
It's just rotating.
Isn't that cool? Do you see that? But here's the thing. Do you guys remember how in way back when they were taught that every operation has an opposite and inverse operation, right? So the opposite of addition is to divide, subtract. The opposite of dividing is to multiply. All that good stuff, right? If I did the distributive property, how do I do the distributive property? I factor. Okay, factor. Now take a look at this. I've got the red, which is the main function. I've got the black, which is the opposite of that. If I add those two functions, guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to get the original function back. I'm going to get f of x, always. Any two inverses, if I add them, I'm going to get y equals x again. That's why they're symmetric. Absolutely. Isn't that cool? No? Am I making an ass of myself? Is that why we're laughing back there? Thanks for putting your phone away and being engaged. That's very kind of you guys. Let's just move on. Okay, so the other part was to graph the two functions together, which is what I was doing on my graphing calculator to show you the symmetry between them. There's calculators right over there. Okay. If you do not have a calculator at home to use yourself,
Isn't there that calculator on there? Or is it not a graph?
so if you don't have a graphing calculator at home, then I would suggest that you go to Desmos, D-E-S-M-O-S. That is my favorite calculator outside of the TI tools that I use. That is one of my most favorites. Actually, I like what it does more than what my handheld calculators do, because I can actually put functions in there in any way I want, and it will still graph them. So, notice the symmetry between the two. Someone pointed it out. Brandon. That's why they will always give you y equals x again. So, the last step is to graph them. Here's another example of a function and its inverse. They will always, if I add them, will always produce y equals x again. If they do not, then you've made a mistake, and they are not inverses of each other. Okay? That's it.
Oh my gosh.